What is up everyone, Movie back again with another video. Now I just want to apologise here for two things. One, for having a bit of a delay on YouTube, and two, for my voice. Now I hope this isn't going to be too annoying to do this video, but I can't wait any longer. But the reason my voice is a bit like this is because I went to football last Sunday, and my team's in a little bit of a relegation battle, and the fans are trying to do everything to get behind the team. My team is Everton, of course, and I just shouted a lot in the match, and then afterwards when we won the game, celebrations sort of continued into the night, and there was a lot of Everton songs going on and stuff in the pub, so my voice didn't fully recover until yesterday. And then I had a family party last night, and it was so loud, the music, and I was sort of talking loud to someone next to me, and I could hear my voice starting to go again. It hadn't fully repaired itself, and I was planning on doing this video today with a good voice, but obviously it's not all there. It is a little bit hoarse, but I just want to get a video out. It's been too long, so I hope it's not too frustrating for you all to watch this. But this is just another end of month vlog where I talk about all the movies and TV shows that I've watched this month. Some of these are on Blu-ray at the cinema, some of them are on streaming. So yeah, like I said, I hope it's okay, the sound of my voice, but it is what it is, you know. I don't want to do this video in the middle of May or anything. I usually try and do it within the first few days of the month. So let's just get into it with the first thing that I watched in April, and that is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the cinemas. Now, I have done a full review on this if you want to go and check it out, but I found the first film to be a fun movie, even though it is a kids movie, and this one is basically the same with the added characters of Knuckles and that dynamic he has with Sonic and Tails. Sorry, Tails is the other character, yes, sorry. So they got them two on screen, which just, it added a little bit more. I'd still say it's on par with the first movie in terms of entertainment value, but this was definitely the best thing about the film, seeing Knuckles and Tails in there with Sonic, and Knuckles was just a great character. Idris Elba really got into the role. I thought he was great as the voice of Knuckles, and there was some really funny moments, especially in the third act when Knuckles, Tails and Sonic were all on screen together. Jim Carrey was great again as Dr. Robotnik. I think he's a really great casting choice. If they do make a Sonic 3, which is, I think it's been announced, I really hope he comes back, but I know he's maybe retiring from acting. I think it might just be a break though. I hope he comes back as him, because he is really great in the role, and it's the old Jim Carrey we all know and love. But overall, a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's like a 7 out of 10 film, but if you want to check my full review for that, it will be down below in the description. Now next up is going to be my older pick of the month, even though it only came out in 2021. So technically it is kind of a new movie, but I only do new releases from this year, so make of it what you will. It's just a bit of fun, this video, isn't it? And that is the movie Nitram from Justin Kurzel. Now this film, I just couldn't stop watching this, looking at the screen. It was absolutely edge of your seat stuff. This is basically about the lead up to the Sydney Harbour gun massacre in 1996, I think it was, and the guy who committed that atrocity. It's all about the lead up and, you know, what makes him do that massacre, if you like. And he's a very, very strange individual. He's not all there really, but he's just always ready to flip like that. I mean, I was watching it going, is this guy just gonna do something here? You really are on the edge of your seat with this guy. And I think his name is Caleb Landry Jones, who plays him. I think he was in Three Billboards, not Three Billboards for, what is it? Of course, Evan Majori. I think he was in that movie, but he is excellent in the role here. He is so terrifying and sinister, and you really don't like him at all, but you can't take your eyes off him, if you like. And all of this is a true story, so I highly recommend you check this out if you like dark dramas. Justin Kurzel, who made this movie, also made another film called The Snowtown Murders, which is very, very similar. I couldn't take my eyes off that movie as well, about a serial killer in Australia. So I do recommend both of them, but Nitram was really, you know, I really got into this film. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Not a fun watch, but one that you get fully invested in, if you like. I thought it was an excellent movie. I hope it comes on Blu-ray. I will pick it up. Definitely worth a watch if you like your dark drama, true stories. And one thing I'll just say about Justin Kurzel, he reminds me of an Australian Shane Meadows, if you like. He does it all in the same style. His films feel very gritty and real, but they're a lot more darker than Shane Meadows movies, if you like. So if you want an idea of what that film's going to be like, that is my best description of it. But that is my older pick of the month, and that is Nitram. Next up, we have Dave Made a Maze from Arrow Video. I picked this up quite cheap last month on my video with Aiden. And this was a very, very typical indie movie. It just had that feel to it. And this is basically about a guy called Dave who makes a maze out of cardboard while his girlfriend's away in the living room. And then his girlfriend comes back and he says, I can't get out. They go in looking for him, his girlfriend and the friends. And this maze has come alive, you know, it's absolutely gigantic inside, and there's all death traps and stuff everywhere. I can't quite put my finger on if this was a great movie or an okay one. I mean, it is very clever, if you like, but I enjoyed it for what it was, you know. It's a good little 80 minutes to pass by. It was interesting, and a bit, you know, kudos for it for giving it all it could being this indie movie. I'm very, very sorry. I might do that a couple of times through the video. It's funny as well when they get killed in this, some of the characters, it's like paper coming out instead of blood, like red paper. It's an interesting watch. It looks good on the eye as well, this maze is created there. Next up we do have the Greasy Strangler. Now this maybe have got my older pick of the month if it wasn't for Nitram. I was watching this film going, what the hell is going on in this? I just didn't expect it to be like this. It's basically about this guy who covers himself in grease and strangles people, and he lives with his son who's just this, the both of them are just absolute scruffs. He is the most vile character I've ever seen in a movie, or one of them, along with another guy I'm going to speak about soon. But this movie, man, it was just these two living in a house and they're both fighting over this girl, but then he goes out and kills people of a night. And all the other characters in this film are just dorky and stupid. I've never seen anything quite like it, honestly. My friend Dave wants me to review this movie on the channel, and I can't do that without watching it again. I do want to go back to it, but I actually watched this on Amazon Prime and then went and bought the Blu-ray because I liked it that much. Definitely worth a watch if you want something different. But yeah, that is the Greasy Strangler. Sorry, I'm just looking down because of, you know, I've got everything not written out on the iPad here. Next up we have Nightmare Alley. Now I've been watching the Oscar nominees. Last month I talked about 3 or 4 of them, and Nightmare Alley was another one I wanted to check out when it came on Disney Plus. And you know what? I'm sorry. The first hour I was kind of like, where's this movie going? It's okay, it's just a circus story with not much happening. And then the last hour I was like, oh my god, it really elevated and turned into something so interesting, and I just got fully on board with it. I do think it could have been trimmed because that second hour or hour and a half is definitely better than that first part of the movie, but it definitely is worth sticking with and seeing how this story plays out for Bradley Cooper. He is basically a magician, if you like, who pretends to read people's minds. Obviously he has a trick to it and stuff, and people are trying to sort of uncover what he's trying to do, and this rich guy wants him to get him to communicate with his daughter who's died, and things start to go in very sinister directions, if you like. But not to say too much, but I do think it's worth a watch. I didn't love it as much as some of the Oscar nominees, but I think it's a solid 7 or 8 out of 10 movie. I am so sorry about this, everyone. Next up we have the Human Centipede. I watched this for my shocking movie review series, and not as shocking as I remember it being. I did only watch it in patches back in the day. It's more of a gross out than a disturbing movie. It's a very simple horror concept. 2 teenagers break down, this guy says, come in my house, I'll help you out, and then he sort of kidnaps them. But something that hasn't been done in films before this, he turns them into a centipede, basically, by attaching themselves to themselves. Arse to mouth, if you like. I thought it was okay. You know, it's a decent little horror flick to watch. but definitely more gross out than disturbing. I think I give it 1 out of 5 on my shock movie review for shock value, and I think I give it like 6 out of 10 for entertainment value. But if you want to watch my full review for that, that will be down below. Next up is a movie that came to Disney Plus. It came out at the start of the year on Hulu, and then Disney Plus got hold of it, and that is Sex Appeal. I think this may be the cringiest movie I have ever seen in my life. It's basically about this girl who is so clever, and she goes to win this competition, and you have to make an app to win the competition, and the best app wins basically. And she is a virgin, and she starts to make an app to decide who she should have sex with and how to have the best sex basically. And she's doing all these tests with her friend and stuff, and it's so cringy to watch. And I was just thinking, this is so weird. And she thinks it's okay to cheat on her boyfriend with this guy because she's testing things and stuff. It's just a stupid movie. I don't think it was very good at all. If you like chick flicks and, you know, rom-coms that are easy watches, I wouldn't say it's so easy to watch because it was cringy, but it is one of them type of movies, if you like, you can just throw on and not think too much about. But I don't think it was a very good film. Next up, we have Loki, the TV series. I'm trying to catch up with all these Marvel shows now because I'm way behind. And I know a lot of people love this. I didn't. I thought it was okay. Definitely episode 4 and 5 is where it picked up. I thought it had a bad finale, but the concept of it wasn't really getting me that invested. I know this is where Marvel want to go a little bit now with the multiverse and stuff, and I've just seen Doctor Strange, which I'll talk about next month, and I have a review coming for that. But I'm just thinking, watching it, I don't know if this is for me. It was okay. It was okay. You know, Loki was a great character. He always has been. He was the best thing about this, along with Owen Wilson, who I love. He was a welcome character. But overall, I thought it was weaker than the other Marvel shows we've had, WandaVision and even The Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yes, I know I'm on an island with that, but I did enjoy that show more than this. It was just the concept of it. Something I probably have to get used to for the near future, I suppose, but there you go. Next up, we have The Weekend Away. Now, this might be one of the worst movies I've seen all year. It was so bland and nothing to it, and it felt like, you know them Christmas films that come out on Netflix every year, but they're so badly made and just nothing there to them. They're just made for Christmas. That's what it felt like, but not a Christmas movie, if you like. I can't quite, if that makes any sense to you. It just felt like a very cheaply made movie that was there to throw on Netflix. And I think this has been made in the pandemic, so maybe that is sort of why it's like that. It just seemed very empty. The acting was bad. The main actress, I just didn't care for her whatsoever. And it's basically about her going to meet her friend in Greece, is it, I think, and she goes missing, and it's her trying to find her. That's it. And it's not very an exciting outcome. I just thought it was boring, a dull movie, and I think I've got it in my bottom 5 of the year. So there you go. Next up, I picked up this other Arrow title this month, and that is Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. I've always been intrigued by this film, because I did used to search for disturbing films and stuff back in the day, and Henry always used to pop up. So when Arrow were releasing this, I grabbed it. I pre-ordered the 4K, because I wanted to check it out, and I thought, that's when I'm going to check this movie out, when I get this Arrow 4K. And you know what? I thought it was a great serial killer film, a true story. And it's not just about this Henry guy, it's also about his partner in crime called Otis, who's just as bad as him. And he basically just go around killing people on a killing spree. I don't think it was too disturbing, but there is one moment in this where they kill a family on videotape. And that bit was, I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit much. But apart from that, it was just your sort of serial killer film, if you like. All a true story based on the serial killer Lee Harvey, not Lee Harvey Oswald, is it? That is Henry Lee Lucas. Lee Harvey Oswald's the one who shot the damn president, if you believe it. This is Henry Lee Lucas. So I've done a lot of looking up on him afterwards and stuff, and yeah, he's meant to have killed a lot of people. So I thought it was a good film. I enjoyed it, and I'm glad to have it in the collection. I would revisit this one day, sure. It was a good movie. It's only like 80 minutes long or something. Next up, we have another bad Netflix movie. I'm kind of looking forward to this because it uses the concept of video games and stuff, but that is Choose or Die. Yeah, like I said, it was a good concept, but it's basically about this young boy and girl who have to play this game. They're forced to play it. Now, there was a couple of cool moments in this where this woman is eating glass. That was the best moment of the movie. And there's a couple of good kills here and there, but overall this is wasted. I don't think it was a very good movie at all. And this, like The Weekend Away, I think is in my bottom 5 of the year. I think it had good music from The Prodigy and stuff, but it was another one that was very cheaply made and stuff like that. Eddie Marsden's in there, but he's in it for about 5 minutes. He was a great actor, and I wish they would have used him a bit more. But basically, it's a video game forcing these kids to play it, and people die, and they have to pick the outcome of each level. Robert Englund's in there, but he's not. It's just his voice for a minute. It's not a good movie in my opinion. Speaking to people who did actually like it, but the majority seem to agree with me. I don't think it's very good. Next up is another Marvel TV show, and that is What If. Now, this had some good episodes, and some of them were really poor. Like the Thor one, where if he doesn't have a brother, I didn't like that at all. But I did like the zombie one. I liked the first episode, I think, where it's Captain... What if, I forgot her name, became Captain America, Agent Carter. That was a good episode, so it was very, very mixed. I thought half of them were good, half of them were poor. But the best one for me was there's a serial killer going around killing the Avengers before they come the Avengers, just like kind of picking them off one by one. That was the best episode for me. But overall, it was an interesting concept. The last two sort of merged together, the last 2 episodes. I wouldn't care if they'd done this again or not. If they did, I'd watch it, but overall, I didn't love it, to be honest, but I thought the animation was great. Yeah, like I said, some good episodes, some not so good. Next up is a very strange film, and this is Apollo 10 and a half, a space-age childhood. Just have to look there for what the title was. This is a Netflix movie, and it kind of surprised me. I thought this was really, really great, to be honest. This is basically about a young boy and his family of 5 or 6 living in the 1969, right by where NASA headquarters is. And I think it's Jack Black who does the narration here. And I could have listened to him all day. You know, he has a much better voice than I do right now. But he's basically just talking about his childhood and like the music his sisters were into, the TV shows they used to watch, the games they used to play in the street, his school, and you can just tell there's so much passion coming out of him. He loves telling you about his childhood, and it's a film that's not really about too much, but I loved it, you know, I did. It does have a big problem though. The second half of the movie kind of goes into him becoming a astronaut for NASA. He got picked to do this test, or it's maybe in his head, and that was definitely weaker than the first half of the movie. But the first hour or something, I was just watching it going, wow, this is such a feel-good film. I could do this all day. You know, I could listen to Jack Black talk about his childhood all day, and it was just a really comforting film. I do recommend you check it out. Just be aware the first half is better than the second, in my opinion, but overall it's still a good movie. Next up, we had a bit of a surprise, and that is Marry Me. Again, Owen Wilson. Main reason I wanted to check it out, and this is a new 2022 release. And I've just... Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. I was just thinking, my new pick of the month, but I haven't said it yet, don't worry. Next up is Marry Me. Now, Owen Wilson is the one that pulled me toward this with Jennifer Lopez. And basically he goes to a concert and his daughter says, hold this sign, and it says Marry Me on it, because the song that Jennifer Lopez is singing is Marry Me, and she's meant to get married to this other big pop star on the stage that day. And just before she goes on stage, she finds out that he was cheating on her with a receptionist. And she just goes on a whim and says, yeah, I'll marry you to Owen Wilson. And he goes up and says yes, and they get married. And he is just this normal guy who's a teacher, who's a father. And next minute his life has changed because he's married this big star, Jennifer Lopez. And you know what? It really surprised me. It's a stupid concept because I don't think it would happen. But it has happened before, I suppose. People get married on a whim. But, you know, it was interesting. It was interesting. Jennifer Lopez going into his life, him seeing how she deals with her life, and them two trying to get on as a couple and give it a go. I think it was a nice surprise and definitely worth a watch. So, yeah, marry me. I thought it was going to be terrible, but it was alright. Next up is my new release of the month, and that is The Northman. I wanted to do a review on this. I don't know why I didn't, but time has passed now. But yeah, I heard good things before it going in, and this film blew me away. It blew me away. I was a bit mixed on The Lighthouse. I still haven't checked The Witch out yet. I wasn't really a particular fan of Robert Eggers and the strange direction choices he takes sometimes in The Lighthouse. And here it started off a little bit like that, and I was like, oh, here we go again. But then it does become very leveled out and balanced, and turned into this absolutely epic film. And I just couldn't believe what I was watching at times. There is a moment about, it's basically about this young kid whose father is killed, and he sets out to avenge his death when he's older, like 20 years later. That's what it's about. But there's a moment in this movie about 25 minutes in, I think it's the best moment of any film in 2022 up to now, better than anything in Batman even. And that is when he goes into this village with this army of, you know, his little gang basically, and they go into this village and just start taking everyone out. But it's all done in a one-shot sequence, and I was just watching it go, wow, this is one of the best things I've ever seen at the cinema. But overall, it's a brilliant movie. It really is. Some very, very violent things happen in this, and even as the film went on and Robert Eggers put his directional weirdness in there, it actually worked for me because I was so into the movie. I've got this second on my Letterboxd ranking of the year, just behind the Batman there. It's an absolutely brilliant film. And if you can check it out and there's still showings on your cinema and you haven't seen it, definitely give it a go. It's a brilliant film. At least a 9 out of 10. Next up we have The Beach. Now my fiance's been telling me about this film since the day I met her. Because she went to Thailand and she loves it where this movie was filmed. And she's told me about The Beach a lot of times. And one Saturday we were just sitting there and saying, what should we watch? And she said, should we watch The Beach? It's on Amazon Prime. So we watched it. And you know what? I enjoyed this movie. It's basically about Leonardo DiCaprio who goes to Thailand. He's travelling alone and he hears about this secret beach. And it's meant to be like paradise, and he sets out to find it with this couple that he's met who are his new friends. And I don't want to say too much, I suppose I can, the movie's 20 years old, but basically they go to this beach and there's a community living there, and they sort of get along with this community and live there themselves. And you know what, it was a good film. It was. Some interesting things happen along the way, so many characters that you latch onto and just see how they're living their lives and stuff. I enjoyed it. It's a good Danny Boyle movie. Next up is The Human Centipede Part 2. Now I don't want to go into too much about this, but I do have a review coming for this. It's already filmed. I'm just in the process of editing it. This is definitely more shocking than the first movie by a mile. There's so much more going on for it. And like the Greasy Strangler, when I said it has one of the most disgusting characters in there, this movie may just have the most disgusting character in there. And Martin, he is just vile. He really is. Some of the things that he does to some people in this movie are nothing short of evil, basically. He is a very dangerous individual. Now, I'll talk about this more in my full spoiler review that I've got coming, hopefully in the next day or two. Look out for that, but yeah, I'm going to be watching the third one this month as well to give you the full series review. There's The Human Centipede 2. It's okay, it's okay. Next up, I watched Catwoman Hunted, another 2022 movie, animated, and it's kind of like the Batman animated films, but this one just stars Catwoman. And basically, there's a lot of people on her trail because she stole something Something worth a lot of value, and these people want it back. Very, very strange musical score going on for this. There's like a jazz music playing all the way through this. But you know what, I enjoyed it. I thought the third act it went a little bit silly, but the first 2 acts of this story, I was really into it, and yeah, it's good animation, good voice work. I enjoy these little animated Batman movies, even though it's Catwoman. They're just easy to watch, aren't they? I enjoyed it, thought it was good. Next up is Virus 32, a new Shudder original. I think this is an Argentinian movie, I think. Basically, this is about a zombie outbreak, and every 32 seconds, the zombies stop, so you have a chance to escape or take a few of them out, and then they go into full panic mode again, and it's just chaos. It's a weird concept, that's why it's called Virus 32. I don't think it quite worked, and it was filmed in a location that was very, very dull and depressing. It's basically this youth centre, but it was all run down and stuff. The main actress wasn't really doing it for me. I just think it was a poor zombie movie, if you like, and I thought it looked really great as well, but it didn't work. It didn't work for me. And this was another one I think was filmed during the pandemic, because it just felt empty. I can't explain what I mean by that, but when you watch this or The Weekend Away, you may know what I'm trying to say there. But overall, I not enjoy it. To be honest, 2022, I don't think it's thrown out the greatest movies, in all honesty. However, this next one, and my final movie of the month, was so hilarious, and that is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the new Nick Cage film starring Nick Cage, of course. He's playing himself in this, and Pedro Pascal is this rich guy who's a big fan of Nicolas Cage, and he pays him to £1 million to come on this island and to spend a weekend with him, and they become best friends. And Nicolas Cage has sort of got the FBI on him, because they think Pedro Pascal is this big drug lord, and they want him to stay and keep an eye on him, but he wants to stay anyway because they've become so much good friends. There was so many moments in the cinema here where people were just laughing their ass off, including myself. I had a great time with it. Again though, this is another movie where I thought the first hour was great and the second hour, it's happened like 3 times this month with 3 different films. It was good, but it wasn't as funny. Like the first hour, all the laughs were coming out, and then the second half, I don't think the cinema laughed too much, but it was still a good movie. It just goes a little bit more serious for the second half. But overall, this is a great Nick Cage film. And if you're a fan of Nick Cage, you definitely need to check this out. So that is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Okay guys, that is my end of month vlog for April. I hope this was okay. I can feel my voice getting a little bit dry here, and now I've got to record my Doctor Strange review with this voice, but what can I do? What can I do? It's a one-off. I hope it didn't frustrate you all too much. And what did you think of some of these movies and TV shows? Let me know down below in the comments. I will get back to you all, I promise. Take it all easy guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.